Hello. So you clicked on this video because something in the title or something that you saw brought you here. And whoever you are, you're very rare. That is the first line in the description of this snake card. And this is from Medicine Cards. So the snake medicine people are very rare, is how this starts. And I don't know how else to put this, but you are transmuting some of the most dense energy that anybody on this planet is transmuting. You're creating a fire serpent, is what I want to say. It's not in here, but that's what I'm getting from this. Because it talks about creating fire medicine. It teaches you on a personal level that you are a universal being. This is all about Kundalini, spiritual awakening. You learned a lesson. You learned and gathered all you needed to know in a certain area with a certain amount of people. And because of what you've realized, because of what you've learned, where is that at? How do I say that though? You have eaten the poison. You have ingested and integrated and transmuted some of the most densest poisons because of what you've went through, because of the people you've had to interact with. And it's almost like you're putting your foot down and saying, no more. I'm done. I've had enough. I'm tired of this. You literally have to get so fed up with the circumstances instead of just settling. And that's just it. We tend to want to get comfortable and then make do with what we have. And that's okay for a while. But then we start realizing, well, it can be better. We can do better. We can be better. So whoever you are, you could be in touch with Thoth the Atlantean or Hermes, because that did come up in here. Okay, this is heavy magic though. But remember, magic is no more than a change in consciousness. So beautiful. Become the magician or the enchantress, transmute the energy, and accept the power of the fire. So I don't know if anybody watched my video from yesterday, but I had a situation where I was at Walmart with my son paying rent, and there was somebody, wanted to interact, and I was cordial, but it got to be too much. So consciously I put up a wall, and because I felt him intruding my energy and it was very uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden he started saying how hot he was and started cursing and cussing, and the cashier was just like, he never does this. I see him all the time. He doesn't act like that. So that was spirit showing me, helping me become aware of what happens when we put our boundaries in play and we actually check these energies. Because whoever you are, you have some kind of ranking in the spiritual, and I'm not feeding your ego. This is also because I don't have it out, but I did see the moose when this card came out, and the moose is all about like realizing how absolutely amazing you are. You are very you have made the right decisions in certain circumstances when not taking revenge, taking the higher road, letting things be. You just keep moving forward. You don't let things affect you the way others do. People will take things very, very personally, and whoever you are, you don't. That is why you have been trusted with some kind of ability, and you've trusted yourself. And that's the thing. It's you who gave this to yourself. It's your higher self that was like, okay, you're passing all of these tests. You're proving your worth. You're proving your integrity. You're proving your morality. And the way that you think isn't like other people. You need to understand that. That's why you are so valuable. So when you go into situations, others might be very judgmental in their mind or put pity on others, but you are somebody that knows that maybe you were in certain circumstances, or you know other people that have been in those certain circumstances where you know, like, yeah, you think it it's something to pity, but I know that this is something this person needed to learn because they're about to skyrocket and they're about to be so happy with who they are and the choices they've made. Maybe they're in a certain circumstance because they needed to leave something that was even worse. Maybe it didn't appear worse on the outside, but on the inside, it did. 555 on the timer. Beautiful. Okay, so let's pull out Chunky. I kind of like Chunky. Trauma in your drama. You may transmute your tragic into magic. I'm going to say it again. You've eaten the poison, right? The trauma. Trauma in your drama. You may transmute your tragic into magic. That is exactly what this card of the snake just said. Isn't that so cool? You're transmuting. This is the snake. You are transmuting your trauma, all the negative circumstances. And when you do that, you're going to start seeing that your power, you're going to start seeing that you have the ability to manipulate energy here in this reality. The more you reflect, the more you go back, and a lot of the times it is times of a lot of drama, a lot of trauma that we look at, we examine, we're like, yeah, that hurt, that sucked, but I don't want to carry that anymore. And that's transmuting. You're transmuting into magic. Thank you, Spirit. That is Demon Slayer. Ah! I could absolutely... Okay, calm down. I have to stay calm. I just love it when Spirit does this. When we do this, when we create this way. Grateful and realizations. So I see somebody, and again, it's food production, understanding all the work it took to get to you. When we are so present and aware of the things we are feeding our bodies, our vessels. When we speak to our food. So have you ever cooked a meal or you knew you were going to cook a meal and it was a meal like you love? Maybe you haven't had it since you were a child or something. And you really, really love it. And you're even like, maybe some people will offer you snacks and you're like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait because I know what's coming. And you're feeding energy to it. Like just by thinking of how amazing it's going to be, you're visualizing it, you're feeding it your energy. So when it comes time to eat that meal, you're eating that energy. And I know this sounds crazy, but if you try it, you're going to notice a difference and you're going to be like, this is insanely amazing. And it's where science meets spirituality, because now there's so much proof that's coming out that these woo-woo things, or things that seem absolutely insane and crazy, have the backings. Science and spirituality are coming together. The bridge is being built. So whoever you are, you could have went through a time where food was very scarce and you've realized when you get food, when you get really nice, high quality, or making your own food and pouring energy into your food and into yourself, you're just so grateful and you have realizations. I don't know if anybody has experienced, not having food for days on end, being in that fight or flight stage, not knowing what's happening or where your food's going to come from, where your housing's going to come from. You gain a perspective on how grateful you can be, especially when you learn that energy. When you're grateful, you're feeding the loop. And so that means you're giving gratitude to the universe, so the universe will give you more things to be grateful and show gratitude towards. And that's why sometimes we're put in those positions, so that we can gain that perspective to be very grateful for the things that we do have. We have fish. Getting the Christian fish. Pisces energy possibly. Also, fish out of water. I heard that the other day. Fish out of water. Fish out of water. And this says show more gratitude. This is a time to really be pouring into ourselves. A lot of people are getting, whenever you get this, it's timeless. But I do know when I'm posting this, the energy flow is about pouring into ourselves and really looking at, it was like we were in Hermit, we came out of Hermit, and we went right back into Hermit because we had to come out of it to get some information and meet with some energies, whether it was a stranger that held the door and you said thank you, your energy exchanging. And there was some kind of frequency that you needed in order to decipher what was really going on. Once you awaken, you realize we weren't even taught how to breathe properly. So when you go through a spiritual awakening, in order to do so, you have to have done some kind of breath work, whether you realize it or not. We're not taught to breathe properly. We breathe way too shallow. Like, we're supposed to fully breathe in and then fully breathe out all the carbon dioxide, not leaving any. So pulling your navel all the way into your spine. Long, deep, conscious, intentional breaths, and even giving gratitude for the air and the breath, because what we don't see here, I'm getting really deep, what we think isn't here, just open air and space, is actually multi-layered. There's more dimensions and realities that are coexisting with us. So if we give gratitude to them and thank them, for the air, every little bit counts. Every little bit, it just adds up and adds up. Okay. So you could have realized that our breathing, or your breathing, isn't, we don't breathe properly. I'm going to leave it there. What else wants to come out, Spirit? They find you confusing and intimidating. They don't know who they are. So because these people don't know who they are, they can't see you for who you truly are. And maybe that was why you came out of Hermit. You keep thinking, oh, this is going to be the day. This time that I come out of Hermit, this time that I bust out of the chrysalis, people are going to see me. They're going to see me. But there was a little bit of residue. There was something from trauma, from drama, that was still lingering, that needed to be slayed. And that's why that came out, or that you came out. So then you can transmute the energy, and you're just like, nope, I'm not okay with that anymore. And these people, they're trying to confuse you and intimidate you. But in reality, they're just trying to take your energy and then push it back onto you. But they don't know who they are. So they're very confused, and they'll try to confuse you. Pathological liar about the stupidest things. So these people could try to get you to believe their stories, pathologically lie about things, like gossip, try to convince you that so-and-so did this to them, when in reality it wasn't even true, and then you're feeding the energy because you're believing it. We have romance coming up under fish. I feel like you are in a romance with the divine. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that you are in a deep romance with yourself. It's the greatest love story of all time. When you desire nothing, when you're so sustained and satiated, you're just like, wow, I'm so loved. I'm so loved. It shows up differently until we realize it and take our power back and set boundaries. But we're always loved. But we just don't always see it and feel it. Because these energies around here, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You laid me down in green pastures. So you could have bought something and you don't know why. It's okay. You're going to need it at some point. The hidden realm. The hidden realm actually asked you to buy that because of something. You could be going on a trip. I-44 could be significant. Doesn't have to be, but just be an interstate. Anything else. Then we'll move on to tarot and we'll close this out. So I'm going to make some breakfast. I am happy. I am whole. I am high vibrational. I love that so much. I am happy, I am whole, I am high vibrational. The feeling when you awaken is awe. Expansion of consciousness in all things. This is the snake was talking about that too. The magic being just an expansion of your consciousness. So whoever you are, you're doing a great job. You're doing an amazing job. You've really constellations, communicate with them. Communicate, yep, go outside, talk to the stars, communicate with them. If any of them are you're guided to, you see the names, you see the symbol, or if you just get a piece of paper out and draw some dots and then connect them, see if that is a constellation, because that's a constellation that is talking to you. That is really interesting, Spirit. I've never done that. That's interesting. That is the Scorpio constellation. That's where I got that from, if anybody's wondering. God is a frequency, a state of consciousness, not a being. It's still beautiful. You're expanding your consciousness. You're transmuting energy. You're going where you're guided, where you're needed to examine the trauma, the drama that other people are still viewing their life through. Maybe go book a massage. That just showed up on my phone. Oh my God, my throat was not doing this before the reading. Your throat, you could have been a smoker for some odd years. There's a black entity that's wrapping itself around your throat chakra. I would do some kind of throat chakra cleanse meditation, because I can feel it, and I actually really don't. It makes me really uncomfortable. Okay, I hear my son is awake, so I'm gonna finish this reading off with a couple of cards. We have the Knight of Cups. Yeah, you're pouring romance and love into yourself. And you're also, I see you're very curious. I see that you don't like playing it safe. You're here to take risks because you know that you're guided and you're protected. Yeah, you're blowing some kind of trumpet on situations that aren't equal give and take, and people like trauma dumping, and you're healing this, okay? You're healing this in a magnificent way. What is their opportunity, Spirit? Opportunity to take it slow. That looks amazing. Queen of Swords is popping up. Nine of Pentacles is popping up. The King of Wands is showing up. And the Ace of Swords. You have a breakthrough in your independence, in your power, in your kingdom, in your queendom, in your kingdom. Wow. This is fire. This is air. This is earth. This is breakthroughs. This is passion. This is you understanding your power and how you can go into situations and just exist within your hidden realm. Because you're very high vibrational. Don't forget that. Remember, I am happy. I am whole. I am high vibrational. Always remember that. Put reminders. Get something that is visible that you can mess with, that is going to put you back into that intentional space. Yeah, I can't stress enough how beneficial it really is, because other people's energies, they can influence us, and we don't want it to take a long time. We would rather catch it and be aware of it in the moment, so that we don't, we're still going to go back and reflect and all that stuff. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we start picking up on it in the exact moment, and we bring the unconscious into the conscious, the subconscious and the conscious, that, where people are working from. basically. So you know exactly what boundaries to place. So with that said, I love you. The universe loves you, and everything's working out for your best and your highest good. Peace.